1-800. Lynn Martin along with you at 519-792-2559. So Health Canada coming out and saying after its study, it says wind turbines are not linked to health problems. Do you agree? 519-792-2559. What's it like to live near them, to live near a lot of them? What have you experienced when they say, there's no real ill health effects? What would you tell Health Canada? 519-792-CKLW. Joining us right now is Colette McLean. She is a resident of Harrow and a member of Ontario Wind Resistance. Good morning, Colette.
Good morning, Lynn.
We wanted to get your opinion on what Health Canada had to say.
Well, you have to remember the way they established the study in the first place. They said there was not going to be any conclusive evidence in the first place. And in order for them to be able to directly link the wind turbine noise to people's health issues, it was going to require a fairly extensive study of monitoring a lot more than just cortisol levels from your hair samples and blood pressure levels. So the start of the study was basically criticized as not being sufficient to be able to establish that link, but they went ahead and did it anyway. So.
Mm-hmm.
And also, one of the biggest problems, what I found, because I did participate in the study, and was that they did not ask many questions. It's mostly questionnaires, right, where you answer the questions with someone who is supposedly equipped to be able to ask the questions properly. And they are saying that basically what happened was they don't really relate what your quality of sleep, what your quality of health is like before turbines and after turbines. They just basically ask you what has been the problem, or have you experienced sleep deprivation in the last month? Well, when you consider the time of year that they did it, which is right,
is what? Sorry, Colette, you kind of cut out there.
Yeah, which is in the summer. They did this in the July of 2013. Generally, the turbines are not as invasive at that time of year. They become more of a problem especially in the shoulder months, what we call fall and spring, right, and winter, when the winds are more elevated and the atmospheric pressures or atmospheric conditions are more conducive for creating noise. The thing too that I found, I didn't go through the study real carefully, but I found some of the things because I haven't had time to, but one of the things that they found was that there was a statistical relationship to several of the reported health effects, right, the dizziness, the migraines, and they found that there was a wind turbine annoyance noise was found to be also when they did the measuring of the cortisol for the hair samples, right, mm-hmm, and the systolic and dystolic diastolic pressure, blood pressure measurements, they found that there was a correlation with increased noise. So they're saying that there is no direct health effects. This is where the key point here. But because they've established annoyance, they're saying basically what they're trying to do is point the finger to the people who are living with turbines, saying the reason why you are having these problems is because you are annoyed. So that means it's essentially your problem, right?
Right. So if it's your high blood pressure or your sleep deprivation, that's because it's in your head. Yeah. Like you can't handle it, so it's your problem.
Yeah, that's how it's basically coming. They're trying to make, not saying that directly, but they are saying it underlyingly. You can see how that's the basis for, and the study was set up that way. What they should have done was shut the turbines off while they were doing for a month, and leave people get back to their healthy state, right? Mm-hmm. And then do your baseline measurements from those people, and then start them again and see. That's like treating people like guinea pigs, unfortunately, but that's what they really should have done to be able to prove.
Yeah. So before, like you're saying, before and after, like what does it prove? So what types of questions, Colleen, did they ask you, and how long did they spend with you?
Oh, it was probably 3 hours at least of question after question after question. Most of it was asking a lot of quality of life questions. They also wanted to link community noise, so things like road traffic. What if I was affected by that? If I was affected by agricultural noises, like combines working, things like that. Mm-hmm. They also asked questions with regards to how I felt about my body image, which I thought was completely irrelevant.
That is kind of a different question. Yeah. Were they trying to get into your head as to,
That's how I found it. It was very much like that. And so you can see that the study is really meant to sort of put a cap on the number of people that are complaining. And people now are this is just putting another nail in the coffin for people who are suffering out there. And, I've met several people myself that have had problems, and they are having a really difficult time because they are always second guessing, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. And yes, it could be this, and yes, it could be that. But why are these symptoms coming up now? And lots of these people were very much in favor of green energy, like wind turbines, and they wanted to see these things happen in their region. And so this idea that you're just nothing but a NIMBY is wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just plain wrong.
So, Colette, what were some of the things that people did complain about that you've heard people complaining personally about?
Several residents have told me that it's waking them up at night. There's a lot of vibration, a lot of feelings of really thick, like your head is really thick. Mm-hmm. Your ears feel always stuffed up. Some people are having a lot of migraines. Some people are. The biggest problem. And I've been trying to keep track of worldwide problems, and the majority are them as sleep deprivation. So you have to remember that when they say it's an annoyance is linked to health problems, right? And annoyance is not the colloquial term that we think of it as, you just have to get used to it, right? Mm-hmm. Annoyance is a medical term when they use these type of studies, right, that is linked to things like sleep deprivation and loss of quality of life and things like that. So they did make that link in this study. That's the thing that we have to understand. They did make that link, mm-hmm. but they can't say that directly because of wind turbine noise.
Right. So you don't sound at all surprised at the outcome of the study.
I'm not surprised one bit because this mm-hmm. is how it's been for the last 8 years that I've been dealing with this issue. Because they love to mislead. They always have this little grain of truth, right, in the statement, mm-hmm. but they know how to manipulate it to get people to go along with the positive effects, right? It's just like they're always trying to say that, people like to accuse me of, well, would you rather have coal or nuclear in your backyard? Well, that's not even a possibility when you think about it, because there's no way that wind turbines can actually replace the need for those conventional forms of generation, because they're so inefficient, they're so unreliable, they're so intermittent, and they're so expensive. So why would that even be the counter argument for me not wanting turbines in my community, right? Yep. So it doesn't. It's just always that kind of. And I'm sure you've seen it many times being in the media, where it's just that small grain of truth, and it gets blown out, and people get sucked in by that, right?
So where do you think people go from here, Colette?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know, because it's pretty clear to me that my government is not interested in protecting me and my health and the health of my neighbors and my family, and they're not interested. They're interested in only somehow being able to, keep a cap on my activities, my ability to do well in life. I don't understand why this is happening, other than there's some kind of collusion. The only thing I can think of is that there's collusion going on, and there's big money to be made, right?
And how many are near you, Colette?
I have 25 that surround me.
Okay.
24. I have one that's 600 meters from my back door. I have 3 within a kilometer of my home. I have all 24 are within 5 kilometers of my home.
So at night you can see the blinking lights and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and the noise and the whooshing and the the disruption.
Does it abate somewhat in the winter?
No, the winter is worse.
Because they're going all the time, but I just wondered because of if we have our doors and windows closed and whatnot.
It's you have to remember there's different kind of noise that's coming from turbines, not just the audible. There's also what they call a low frequency, as well as an infrasound level that's more pervasive. You don't necessarily, your ear cannot completely hear that level of noise, but your body perceives it.
Okay.
And that's why a lot of people are getting the migraines and the earaches and things like that.
And may not even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Colette, thank you so much for joining us today. Colette McLean, a member of the Ontario Wind Resistance, part of the Health Canada study. She took part of it. It was conducted here in southwestern Ontario, where, as we know, we have more than anywhere else in the province, and also in PEI. And what they concluded was that it was not linked to any ill health problems, no ill health effects.